Heyo, Chris here, and thanks for tuning into the Delta. And thanks to everyone who has been following me on this journey. I am slowly but surely trying to come up with a good routine and schedule and figuring out how I want to construct the videos and the content. And word just can't express enough everyone that's decided to subscribe and like the videos and stuff like that. So again, thanks so much for everything. I think I'm coming into a decent format that hopefully you guys will enjoy and get good content out of. So today's video, we're going to be talking about the 5 things to look forward to or what to watch for in the Spanish GP this coming weekend. And my goal is to make it a little shorter. So we can do our prediction videos and then the voodoo videos, and those are fun and insightful and all that fun stuff. But then this is the quick little bang, bang, bang. Here you go. This is what's happening. This is what you should look for, just in case you don't have time to sit through a 15, 20-minute video or anything like that. I'm trying to cover all bases, and I think that this is kind of a video that we can try to do that with. But now we're making the video too long by all this talking, so let's just get into the top 5 and see how it goes. Starting with number 5, the upgrades. Lots of cars are bringing upgrades this coming weekend. To include VCarb, Aston Martin, Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, and Mercedes. VCarb is hoping to find some high-speed improvements because that's where they've been lacking, especially against Aston Martin, who is the team right in front of them in the standings, and Aston Martin tends to be good at the high speed. Then you have Aston Martin, who is good at the high speed, like I said, but lacking kind of everywhere else ever since they did their last upgrade. They're going to be bringing stuff to their car, hopefully to improve in all little areas here and there. I mean, for them, they're at a point where, if they can find any improvement in any sector of any part of any kind of track, that's got to be good for them. Then you got Red Bull. They're bringing in some parts. Not much information is known about how large or anything, at least at the time of recording. But they're bringing in something, and their car is already top tier. So they're really just bringing in whatever component they can to eke out a little bit more performance. Whether it's a tenth or a thousandth of a second, they have to find it, because you got teams like McLaren and Ferrari who aren't giving up and are getting pretty close to catching Red Bull. Talking about McLaren and Ferrari, we'll start with McLaren here. They're not bringing anything huge. Their team boss said that they had this kind of option here where they could get all these little single component parts put together and at a later date put together a big package upgrade, but decided to go with a singular component upgrade with whatever they have ready. They're going to bring to the Spanish Grand Prix because they believe they can get some performance out of it. Then you have Ferrari, who has a more significant upgrade, which they will need after the Canadian Grand Prix performance. And it's going to be focusing on aerodynamics and refining the slow speed that they kind of suffer in. So they're bringing in a new floor and some changes to the rear of the body in hopes they can get a little bit closer to Red Bull. And if they can't get closer to Red Bull, hopefully widen the gap between them and McLaren. And then last but not least, you have Mercedes. They are also bringing in a floor. They brought in a new wing a couple weeks ago, paid off massively. Toto Wolff believes they are now a performing car, and this floor will probably be the thing that they need to get themselves even more performance, and obviously can get better placement and be more competitive against the top teams. So lots of upgrades coming to Spain. How many teams do you think are going to be rewarded by bringing them? We'll go on to number 4 now. We got to look for Mercedes to excel here in Spain. As I stated earlier, Mercedes is coming in with a new floor and some other upgrades most likely. Look for a good performance from them. Some pundits that I've been watching and listening to are going as far as saying that Lewis Hamilton could possibly even get a podium. I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with that, but I will say if I were Ferrari or McLaren, I would be a little bit more concerned if Mercedes comes out of Spain and has a good race weekend. Moving on to number 3, you have Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso home circuit race. It's always fun watching drivers on their home track. Charles won there in Monaco. Yuki Tsunoda did great there for Japan by RB standards. It's just a fun thing to witness, and it really like gets you right in the feels, you know, good vibes, if you know what I mean. And I wouldn't be too optimistic about Fernando Alonso, as he stated already that he kind of believes the car is sitting at a P8, P12 range type of thing, but I never underestimate the former world champ and his driving abilities. Carlos Sainz, on the other hand, is in a car that does have winning potential. I mean, it's a Ferrari, and after Canada, I am not so certain. But if we're being serious here, like, Sainz has a victory in Australia this year, and Fred Vasseur believes that the upgrades that are coming in are good enough to compete for top spot in this week's race. Look for Carlos Sainz to give it his all in his home track, because it's going to be his final race in a Ferrari seat at his home. So I expect a lot out of Sainz this weekend. I don't necessarily think there will be a win, but my fingers are crossed for a podium. Moving on to number 2. Will Ferrari continue to struggle or get back on track? With all the optimism of the Ferrari upgrades and the Sainz home circuit, we must also remember just 2 weeks ago, Ferrari produced a double DNF in Canada. Fans hope that was just a one-time thing where the combination of the car not being like really up to snuff and the strategy wasn't the greatest and the chaotic weather, that would be the reasoning for the damn near non-existent performance by them. So with the upgrades coming in and Ferrari feeling optimistic about their potential performance, it'll be interesting just to see if Ferrari gets competitive or if it's nothing at all and they just continue down the path after Canada and just don't show up. And then the number one thing to look for at the Spanish Grand Prix this coming weekend, I'm going to be looking for anybody to keep up with Red Bull. Now, in my predictions video, I have Max Verstappen performing poorly. It's my shocker pick, not like a hard set pick, but the one pick that's like, it would be pretty shocking if that happened, and I do. That's Max Verstappen not doing well. But in actuality, the track probably bodes very well for the Red Bull cars. It's a pretty straightforward circuit with very minimal curbs and bumps and undulations and all that weird stuff that like has been giving Red Bull some problems over the last few races. So, a big bonus for them that they're not going to have to put up with inconvenience. But another key factor in this is Sergio Perez also has to get his butt in gear. At bare minimum, qualify well enough so he's just not starting on the back foot. I mean, he hasn't been qualifying well, thus he's been starting races in the back and had been struggling ever since. But if Perez can get his game back to snuff and Verstappen can control his car on a favorable track, we need to see if Mercedes, McLaren, or Ferrari have the ability to at least keep up, because if they can't, then we may be seeing a dominant victory by Red Bull that takes the wind out of all the sails of all this excitement we've been feeling over the last few races. As a little bonus thing to look forward to, remember Oliver Behrman? That kid, he's the one that scored points when he took Carlos Sainz's seat there in Saudi Arabia because Carlos Sainz had a failed appendix. He is going to be coming in to FP1 apparently, sitting in a Haas car for Nico Hülkenberg. If you have time on Friday, tune into FP1 and just take a look at the guy that I think has a sure shot at getting a Formula One seat next season. Also, quick little weather update. I said there in the predictions video, it looks like the weather's going to be nice, and the weather's typically nice. There is some rain in the forecast for Barcelona for the race, but it's in the morning. And at first I was like, oh no, in the morning. Well, that's in the morning for me when I watch the race. In Barcelona, it's the afternoon. So it looks like there's rain in the morning. It doesn't look like it's going to stick around, so expect a dry race. But the weather did change. Rain possible on Sunday's race. But that's it. Hopefully the video wasn't too long. We're at 12 minutes in recording. Hopefully I can edit it down shorter. Thanks a lot for watching and tuning in to The Delta. My name is Chris. Take care, stay safe, and have fun out there. Bye, everybody.